Divorce happens. In fact, it happens to almost 50% of first marriages. So let's talk about it. Welcome to Divorce Happens, a podcast to educate, inspire, support, and yes, make you laugh through divorce and beyond so that you can start fresh on the next phase of your journey. Remember, divorce happens, and then we start fresh.
You get divorced. You get divorced.
Getting divorced?
I'm getting a divorce.
You're getting a divorce.
Because she's getting a divorce.
So what if I get divorced?
Welcome to Divorce Happens, the show where we support you before, during, and after divorce with education, inspiration, and a little bit of laughter. Because as you know, divorce happens, and then you start fresh. I'm Olivia Howell, and today I'm coming at you with a quick solo episode. Just you and me to talk through something I know so many people face during divorce. Let's get started. One of the most disorienting parts of divorce, or even the early stages of considering divorce, is the loss of identity. You wake up one day and realize you've become someone you never intended to be. Or maybe you stopped being who you were a long time ago, even without noticing the slow fade. Marriage often asks us to compromise. Parenting asks us to stretch. Life asks us to adapt. But somewhere along the way, you may have put pieces of yourself on a high shelf thinking, I'll come back to that later. And then later never arrived. So when divorce enters the picture, you're not just losing a relationship, you're rediscovering yourself. And in that rediscovery begins in small, almost invisible moments. The first step is noticing what lights you up, not in a dramatic, life-changing way, but in the subtle spark kind of way. What did you once love that fell out of your life? What activities made you feel alive and curious or peaceful? What parts of your personality have been quiet because the relationship didn't make space for them? You don't need to reinvent yourself overnight. You don't need to start rock climbing or take a solo trip to Paris or run a marathon, unless you want to. Rebuilding your identity can begin with something as gentle as buying yourself a new pen and writing for 2 minutes, or listening to music you like in the car instead of defaulting to the family playlist, or sitting in silence long enough to hear your own thoughts before the world's needs rush in again. Another step is reclaiming your preferences. What you like to eat, how you like your home arranged, what time you sleep, how you spend a Sunday morning. These sound small, but they're actually foundational. When you've spent years accommodating, appeasing, or shrinking, naming your preferences is an act of self-resurrection. Then there's the reconnecting with your inner voice, the one that was overshadowed by marital dynamics, conflict patterns, or emotional labor. That voice has things to say, and she's been waiting patiently for you to listen. Identity work also includes acknowledging who you've become through survival. Maybe you learned resilience. Maybe you learned how to advocate for yourself. Maybe you learned how deeply you can love. Maybe you learned what you will never tolerate again. These aren't failures, they are parts of you worth honoring. And finally, the biggest step, giving yourself permission to grow. You don't have to stay the version of yourself your marriage required you to be. You don't have to fit into the mold you created a decade ago. You are allowed to evolve. You're allowed to become someone new. You're allowed to return to yourself in a way that feels like relief. Identity isn't lost in divorce. It's uncovered. Thanks for spending these few minutes with me. Remember, you deserve support, you deserve clarity, and you deserve to rebuild a life that feels like yours. If you need more guidance, visit freshstartsregistry.com for free resources, vetted experts, and ways to feel less alone. As always, you can DM me on Instagram at Olivia Howell. I'll see you next time. Divorce Happens is produced by Fresh Starts Registry, the only divorce registry platform for everything you need to begin again, including home items, hype team, and everything in between. Remember, divorce happens, and then we start fresh. We're here to support you before, during, and after divorce. Head to freshstartsregistry.com for more info.